Well, hello everyone. This is Nicki Keohohou. I am so happy that you've joined us today for the 5 steps to unlock the power of coaching. So you should have the screen in front of you. You notice a chat box on the side. And I'm so glad Shelley says that yes, she can read the chat. Can you see the screen okay, Shelley? Or anyone else? Perfect. Well, we are off and running. I'm so happy that you are all here with us, and we're going to get started. First of all, you want to take out a paper and pen right away so that you can get a lot of good notes while you're here, and you want to make sure that you can go back and refer to them again, especially those of you that have already said that you're going to be joining us with a future coach school. The more you are exposed to coaching before you do that, the better off you are. So congratulations, everyone, for being here for this call tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you have any questions at all, you can type those into the chat box on the side. Right now, we have everybody muted except me. So, I see a bunch of you just came in here. So thank you so much. So let's get started right away. All right. So let's do a quick little overview so you can kind of see what is going to happen on this call tonight. You're going to come out with a basic understanding of what coaching is. And even if you have been exposed to coaching previously, you've got to hear it again and again and again. That's one thing we found over the 20 plus years that we've been working within the coaching world, is that coaching is not a one-time deal. People just don't grab it in one time. So this is going to get you started, and it will be a good beginning place for you. So let's take a look at our first slide, and that is, what is coaching? So notice the little picture of the carriage and the horse there. You see, in 16th century England, coaching was defined as taking valued people from where they were to where they wanted to be. Again, taking valued people from where they were to where they wanted to be. And I want all of you to know this. It's really kind of the same today, except not in a coaching scenario. I mean, not in a buggy and carriage. It is taking people from where they are to where they want to be. It's with skills, and you're going to learn about those 5 skills while you're here today. So coaching is a skill set that takes practice. It's not something that just happens in a day. Now, most people don't understand there's a big difference between coaching and training. So I want to go over these for a minute. You've got that slide in front of you, so you'll be able to, say it along with me if you'd like. So as a trainer, we're teaching, and that's good. It takes training to be successful in this business. As a coach, we support others to awaken creativity and possibility thinking. We have them think for themselves, open their minds. It is really exciting that it happens that way. Of course, as a trainer, we provide the answers. And as a coach, we help others to find their own answers, which is wonderful. So let's take a look here at one more, and that is, as a trainer, we have a teacher-student interaction. As a coach, we have a partnership interaction. We're in this together. And as a trainer, the focus is on the trainer's agenda. We come to the meeting, we come to the call with our agenda. And see, in true coaching, you don't own that agenda. That team member, it's the focus on their agenda. And the other thing that we don't do in coaching is we don't hold on to the outcome. It's their outcome. They get to decide what they want to do with that. So as a trainer, the expertise is with the trainer. And as a coach, the team member is the expert. So what would you prefer? Do you want people to be in charge of their own destiny and what they're wanting and what they're looking for, or would you like to try to do the whole deal? That's what I want you to really think about. Now, let's move on to the 5 steps, because we said early on that we were going to be doing these 5 steps. So what I want you to realize is, yes, there are 5 steps to doing coaching, but there are also 5 principles. So we're going to start off with these 5 principles because I want you to understand if you don't have these principles in place, if you don't have all of these principles, you can't be a good coach. So write them down, and they spell the word stare down the page. So go ahead and mark them off down the page. The first principle is service, and that's really being of service to other people. You are there to serve them. They aren't there to serve you. People on your team, when you keep in mind that you're there to serve them, everything is easier. I'm just telling you, it's a whole different ball game when you understand the service is a key factor. The second principle is trust. And trust means that you are trustworthy. What they share with you is not shared with other people. That they can trust that you'll hold their confidence. That they can trust that you won't have judgment in what you're saying. It's all of that, which is a beautiful thing when you understand that if you have trust in coaching, people will be more open and will share more effectively with you. The third principle is authenticity. And that's just really being real with people. You know, kind of what you see is what you get, not putting on airs, not to try to be somebody that you're not. Now, I know I'm going through some of these pretty quickly because I really want to get into the meat of the coaching skills. I believe you're going to get this a recording if you signed up for the course. So just take the best notes that you can and then share with other people that you know are on the call with you. The fourth is integrity. Integrity means doing the right things even when people aren't looking. You continue to show up, just people knowing you're going to do the right things. And the fifth principle, is respect. And you think about it. Type into the little box there. What do you think? How people show up when they are showing or demonstrating respect to other people? What does that look like? In the chat box there. Respect looks like you listen. Absolutely. People that practice heart-centered listening always are demonstrating respect to other people. So the opposite of that, disrespect, is when we don't listen. And we have pretend listening or selective listening or another type. Respect is also shown when we don't bring our judgment in, when we don't necessarily speak and out what our opinion is of things, bringing in our judgment. Acknowledge their worth. Thank you, Cappy, for that. When you acknowledge the worth of somebody, their value, you're showing that you're showing respect to them, which is a beautiful thing. How many of us would like to receive respect every day? How many of us would like to have people notice us and not judge us? That's a pretty big thing. So let's move on, because now what we're ready to do is to go into the skills. So again, these are the 5 skills. I've got someone that just unmuted themselves. Just a minute. So the whole thing that is beautiful about these skills, there's only 5 of them. So you can grow in your coaching by just picking one skill. Decide which one of these matters to you the most. So the whole thing about empowering questions as being the first skill, it's because if you don't know what to ask people, first of all, how do you know what to ask is by listening. But the asking of questions gets people to open up so that they will talk, which is a good thing. And if we can get people to talk, we learn a lot about them. So those empowering questions start with these words: who, what, when, where, and how. Who, what, when, where, and how. If you keep those questions to those words, you will always have an open-ended question. You won't have any judgment added to it. You won't have, because by the way, the word why, whether you mean it to or not, why don't you have any sales this month? And we can smile while we're saying, why don't you have any sales this month? Doesn't matter if we're smiling. They feel judgment. So the why question, the only time we use that is around the emotional why. We don't use it under normal, empowering questions. So again, who, what, when, where, how questions are the big part of asking those good questions. So the questions empower the person. They empower the person to think. They empower the person to go beyond that. You can empower the person to go at their own pace. Okay, everybody, I'm going to tell you, there's a little distraction with people's videos starting. So at the very bottom of the page for you, you can see a little thing that says video. You can block that if you'd like, and I can also block it for others. But I would suggest, let me see if I can stop video. Okay, I think I blocked it for at least one person, but hopefully everybody's is blocked. So sorry about that if it was a distraction to you. Thanks for writing into the chat box. I appreciate that. So those first questions were the empowering and powerful questions. Good skills. So what would you like to use your time for today? If someone says, I'm really stressed, I'm feeling like the word overwhelmed. By the way, that word is not an empowering word at all. And you'll learn at Coach School about enlightened vocabulary. And the opposite of overwhelm is I have unlimited opportunities. I choose to prioritize. When you say you're overwhelmed, you're stuck, you're a victim. But for an example, we're going to say somebody says to you, I am overwhelmed. And if they say that they're overwhelmed, what is it that is affecting you in that way? Or what's causing that stress for you? What one thing could you eliminate that is making you feel this way? When have you not had that feeling? What were you doing differently at that time? Those are all good questions that allow people to get past that whole limiting belief of whatever that is that they're feeling at that moment. And by the way, just so you know, coaching isn't just when somebody has a challenge. Coaching is an important skill when someone is trying to have a stretch goal, when someone is stuck, when someone is feeling disempowered, when someone is feeling out of control. There's lots and lots of times when coaching is effective. It's not just when someone has a challenge, which is really good to know. Heart-centered listening is the second skill. And I'm going to tell you, if you just started now practicing heart-centered listening, it would make a massive difference in every relationship you have. See, coaching isn't just for business, it's for your life. Every relationship will be better when people practice these skills. So heart-centered listening is the opposite of internal listening. When you are in internal listening, you're in your head. When you're in your head, you're not able to feel what that person is feeling. See, heart-centered listening is a feeling beyond the words. So it's like some people think, well, gosh, she really gets me. How did he understand what I was saying? Because you were listening at a much deeper level than just listening in your head and trying to figure out what you were going to say next. And by the way, people that have a big challenge with overcoming objections, my guess is you're talking a lot. And people do not object to their own answers. So if you asked more questions and listened, you wouldn't get as many objections, which is pretty exciting to know. So let's move on to the third skill. So that's heart-centered listening. If you have comments, thoughts, or questions, please feel free to type them into the box. We have a lot of people on this complimentary webinar today, and I don't want to miss anybody in your comments. So please, put them up there and I'll make sure I get to them. Now, the third skill, we don't always use this skill. This is a skill that is a last resort. This is a skill that you only need to bring forth when someone has a blind spot, something that they don't notice, that they can't see. And you've coached and you've coached and you've coached around it, and they still don't understand. If that's what's going on, if that's what's happening, and the coaching isn't working, compassionate feedback is that last resort. So it's the opposite of constructive criticism. For some reason, people think that it's easy to give constructive criticism. I need to fix all these people that are broken, so I'm going to just tell them what to do. Now listen to those two words, constructive criticism. They don't match up. how can criticism be constructive? Compassionate feedback is a different skill set. You know, it really bothers me because they're still teaching constructive criticism in business classes. I can't wait for the day when they move to compassionate feedback, because when they do, they're going to understand that it is a whole different approach and people hear you. When you give constructive criticism, generally people either push back or block you out. When you give compassionate feedback, because it's done with permission, people are open to receive what you have, and especially because their belief is that you are coming from a place of service, not coming from a place to make them wrong and you right. So how do you give compassionate feedback? May I share something with you that I've observed? Or can I share something with you that I noticed? Or, you know, may I share an observation that I have made? Now, I'm not saying this is on behalf of the whole wide world, or the whole team thinks, or everybody in my life thinks, or the whole family thinks. No, you only can speak on behalf of yourself. When you give the feedback, it is brief, it is direct and to the point, the voice is compassionate, and then you go back to coaching and ask questions. If you learn this skill, particularly those of you that are, we teach in our coach school also about DISC, and you take a great assessment beforehand that tells you how other people see you and how you see yourself. A 36-page document that is just amazing with what you will discover about yourself and others. And those of you that are that S behavioral style, very steady, you are people-oriented and reserved. For you, this will be one of your most difficult skills, because you think you're going to have a conflict. It isn't a conflict, it's a conversation. Now, for those of you that are very direct, decisive doers, you are outgoing and task-oriented, you want to jump in and give them constructive criticism out of the gate. Doesn't work. So, not easy to learn, but once you get it, and we practice it in the school. So if you are planning on coming to a recent coach school, or one of them that's coming up, come with a couple of ideas of people that you would like to give compassionate feedback to. Because we do a practice session, that person's hopefully not there, but we give a practice session of how to do that and see how the other person receives it. And then they can give you feedback on how it went. So it's a great skill to learn. Sometimes people just bug us and drive us crazy, and we bottle it up, we don't say anything, and then we blast them with the bazooka because we're mad now. And that's not the way to give feedback. Not when you're mad. You give feedback when you're calm and when you're there to be of service to others. So first skill, write it in the box. I want to see who's been listening. Write in the box. What was the first skill, number 1? You're right. Empowering questions. Thank you. You are a star student. You get a gold star, Joe. Thank you so much. And we had another star student, Lisa. Thank you. Second skill was, you got it, heart-centered listening. Heart-centered listening. Boy, Lynn, you're on it too. Thank you, Cindy. Great. Third skill, it's in front of your face there, just in case you aren't sure. Let's have a newbie. Put it in there. Yay, compassionate feedback. You are fast typers. Okay, we're moving on to the fourth skill. You're on it. The fourth skill. Oh, I love this skill. And I love this skill because it is one that is missed a lot. It's skill number 4. It's called agreed action and accountability. Now, people used to think this was agreed action and accountability. Well, I think it'd be a good idea if you got on the phone this week and called 20 people, and then let me know how that goes. You should get a few bookings from that. Yikes. When and there did they agree they were going to do it? And then we're mad that they don't do it. They must agree to the action that they are committed to taking, and they are accountable for their action to make it happen. Now, again, I'm going to go back to those steady people. You're very nice people, but you have a lot of long, good conversations without any results, because this is a skill that may be missing in your skill set of coaching. Agreed action and accountability. So it would sound something like this. What is your first step? Where would you begin? What do you feel is workable for you this week? What approach will work the best for you? When will you begin? Who else will be involved with this decision or this approach? The idea is that they speak out. How will I know how that went? I'd like to celebrate with you. That's them agreeing to action and being accountable for their own action. If you do not ask that question, I'm going to tell you in advance. If you don't go to the agreed action and accountability, you had a nice conversation with no results. That's it. Nice conversation, no results. If that's not what you're looking for, then you've got to get this skill down. And I know some of you are thinking, I don't want to be pushy. It isn't pushy. It's giving a person the best chance at what they really want out of life. See, there are people that say, I want to be a director. I want to be a director. I want to be a director. Wanting is not becoming a director. Wanting is not getting to be a director. Just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to happen. You've got to have a plan of action to make that happen. And if you don't support them on that plan, generally people who have no plan to do nothing. So we set them up to fail, and that's not what we want. Type in the box if you're somebody that in the past has had a little challenge in the area of getting people to agree to take action and or them being accountable. I won't say your name, I promise. So thank you. So here's what happens. Yeah, there's several coming in now. I personally have had that challenge, okay? So if that has been a challenge for you, just add it to every conversation that you have. You know, what's next for you? Where will you begin? How will you make that happen? What is the timeline to make that happen? If you don't ask those questions, nothing happens. So thank you, everybody, for your honesty. There are a few of you that have done that. And my guess is you're very nice people, very kind, very respectful, always wanting what's best for other people, and you don't want to be pushy. By the way, if you want to learn how to get over being pushy, that's one of the skills we generally teach in the coach school, because that is a big, big challenge for folks to get. So I'm happy that all of you understand the importance of that. And by the way, the word commitment is a big word in agreed action and accountability. So let me explain what I'm saying there. When someone says, oh, I really want to make 10 calls this week. Well, how many calls can you commit to making? And why that word commitment is so important, you see, commitment is tied to integrity. And nobody wants to be out of integrity on purpose. So if we ask that way, so how committed are you on a scale of 1 to 10? That's a pretty big step for people to take. Well, they might say, well, maybe I could make 5 calls. Okay. And don't fall over and say, well, you said you were going to do 20 and now you're doing 10, now you're doing 5. What are you doing? You just don't bring your judgment into it. So all I'd say is at 5, so how committed are you to those 5 calls on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, I'm a 5. Well, what can you commit to at a 10? I can commit to 2 calls. Great. So who will those 2 calls be with? Who's on that list? When will you call them? See, we want to set people up for success. Does anybody here, and type into the box if this is you, anybody here feel that sometimes people just tell you what they want you to hear? In other words, they just say what you think that's good for you to hear. So they just tell you that to make you happy for the moment without realizing they're not going to follow through. Thank you, Julie, because it is true. It happens a lot. And so we got to have them feel safe to really speak their truth and have it be okay. So that's why whatever they say, and I did something in this little conversation right now. I said, great. In reality, when you're coaching, you don't bring in those words like, oh, that's wonderful, or that's exciting, or that's great. Those are not good words to use, because the first time we don't say that, then we're thinking it's not great. So maybe that sounds like it's a plan for you, or something along that nature. Coaching, I'm not a poker player because I'd get excited. I got an ace, and be wild about it. So I don't play poker. But I'll tell you what, in coaching, I have a poker face. If I'm coaching you, you will not know that something shocked me or that something exasperated. You're not going to know because I learned my opinion doesn't matter. That's an important thing in coaching. Whatever you think the outcome is supposed to be does not matter. Your opinion in this or what you think they should do is not part of it. It's all about them. And this will be a big shift for those of you that have been practicing telling people what to do for a long time. And I'm going to give you a little statistic, and I want to know, that sounds like I missed it. Oh, that's okay. I don't know if I should repeat or what you mean by that. Oh, instead of great, I did say great in there, but you missed it, but I heard it because I listened to what I say. So this is the other thing that's kind of important in this piece that for all of you, we've been training for years, and all of you are really good at training, and I know that. Training is a piece of the puzzle. If training without coaching is not a complete, real understanding for a person. So if somebody has already been to the coach school, you know the statistic, and I'll have you write it in. If you are a good trainer and what you are doing is of all nine components of being a good trainer, you have compelling content, you have voice quality, you have stories, you have humor, you have engagement, you have all the rest of them, and you're doing really good. What I want you to understand is average retention and application of what you said is 22%. When you combine the coaching skills with the training skills, I want to see who remembers the percentage. If you've ever been to school, we might have a lot of new people, which I'm really excited about. Most of our students that have gone to schools in the past come back multiple times, and they go to everything they can because they want to continue to get better. So here's the second half of that. When you combine coaching skills with training skills, average retention and application is 88%. Is there anyone on this line who is sick and tired of training on the exact same things over and over and over again? Because you have to keep training it. If you're not coaching, this is what you think. You think, thank you for all those honest answers here. Yay, me. Oh, there's a few. Here's what we don't know. When we keep training people, we keep training them because we think they don't know what to do. But they do know what to do because you trained them on that. They don't need to be trained again. That's when coaching comes in. So training first, coaching follows, particularly if they're not doing what they've been trained to do. There's some limiting belief standing around that. Maybe we don't know what it is yet, but we will eventually figure it out. So that fourth skill, agreed action and accountability. I love this skill. This is the final skill. See, there's only 5. It's so exciting. The fifth skill is called I see you acknowledgement, as in I see who you are being. I see the person you are. I see the qualities that you possess. This is way more than a compliment. An acknowledgement is a word that has a feeling attached to it, and people do feel it. So instead of saying, good job, had a great month, you rock, you're awesome, or whatever those things are that we've said for years and years and years that kind of go in one ear and out the other, what would a word be that would describe the quality of a person? Type it into the box there. Enthusiastic. Creative. Fun. Any more? Resourceful. Hardworking. Kind. Innovative. Boy, Joe and Mariano, you two have to get together. You both said the same word. Patient, dedicated, ambitious. You're trustworthy. You're a person of integrity. You're honest. I love the word brave. I also love the word courageous. Doing something that somebody has never done, they were afraid to pick up the phone and call people. You are a courageous person. By the way, we teach you how to acknowledge at your meetings at the coach school too, the proper way to acknowledge. It's not just good job, you're number one in sales. You miss a whole lot of opportunity. Perseverant, very beautiful. And you're invested in your team. Boy, you are all good at this. I am most impressed with how many words of acknowledgement you came up with. Let's start using them. That's a skill you can start with today. When you walk into the grocery store, whoever waited on you, thank you for being so kind. Thank you for just having a smile on your face and being joyful. People fall over when you say those things. When you say those words that are beyond the doing, that is a gift to people. You are stepping up in a big way. That took courage, or that took bravery, or that took ambition. So it's not just the doing, it's the being, who the person is inside. I see you acknowledgement. So now you got the 5 skills. See, there's only 5 steps, 5 principles. It's not that hard. So how are top sellers utilizing coaching? Here's the thing. Coaching is not just for your team. You can use your coaching skills in the selling process. So if you're doing a home party or an opportunity meeting or things like that, when you're doing those things, ask more questions. By the way, I was recently at an opportunity meeting for a very large company, and the company asked me to go in and watch this meeting because they didn't feel they were getting the results. This is a hint. If you're up in front of a group of people and the women bring out their knitting, that's a hint. They're not engaged. So how many questions were asked in that meeting? Not one. Until, well, are you ready to sign up? No, ask, what are you looking for in a business? What would matter to you most in finding the right home for you? So in the selling process, if you were in a meeting, what do you like about the texture of this product? How does that feel on your skin? What do you like best about how that feels on your skin? Where would you use this bag? How many uses can you think of for this particular bag? We have a lot of 31 people on the line today, so I threw in those bags for you. Are you happy about that? So those are the questions that increase your sales. They're selling themselves. Today's person does not want to be sold and told. They want to be engaged. That's also actually why we use coaching skills in the sponsoring process. Instead of giving them more information, information doesn't create transformation, folks. It doesn't. So instead of giving them a bunch of information, find out what they're looking for so you can hit the target. Use your coaching skills when you're sitting down to engage someone to join you in your business. We're moving away from convincing and moving towards engagement. So how does coaching free more time for you? People think coaching takes a long time. Well, God, I have to ask all those questions. Well, here's the thing. How many times do you want to train them on the same subject? How would you like to have them actually get it and utilize it and move forward? Here's a question for all of you. You can type in the box. How many of you hear this on the phone occasionally or more often? Got a minute? Got a minute? I just need one question answered. Could you answer my question for me? Constantly. People do this to us because we have become the answer queen or king. And here's what happens. When they call and all we do is give answers and not teach the fishermen or women to fish, we then have people dependent on us. It's called codependency. Go look it up. If you don't want people to be dependent on you for everything and you want them to figure things out, if you coach them, they're not calling you for everything, and they gain more self-esteem, more confidence, and are more apt to go forth and give everything their best shot without checking in with you first. So you want to teach them, teach the fishermen to fish. When they call, here's an example. Here's this question. My picture will be beside the definition of codependent. Thank you. We're going to get past that today going forward. Oh, another person says, oh, this happens to me all the time. on 24 hours a day. That's it. Guess what, guys? You, who wants your job when you're the one that is answering your phone at 10 o'clock at night? This is the deal. Teach the fishermen to fish. When they call and say, well, what's the hostess special this month? You know, you've put it in the newsletter, you put it on your website, you've talked about it, and they want you to tell them. So, you know, we can just give it to them, but guess what? Then they keep calling us. So where do you think you might find that information? You know, I could tell you, but, you know, you're going to have people calling you and asking you, so you can use the same approach with them. Where do you think you might find that information? Oh, it could be in the newsletter. Great. Well, let's go. You go ahead and open the newsletter, and I will too. Where do you think it would be under the topics in the newsletter? Oh, under Hostess Special. Boy, you are resourceful. Now, guess what? You can do the same with your team. Because either they do one or two things. If you're the answer queen, either they send their people to you for the answers, or they can get the people they will be the answer person themselves and get in the same old trap because they modeled you, or they can learn how to get these people to think for themselves. It is exciting when you've got leaders of leaders, people that can empower other people. This is what this is about. So it's going to save you time. They don't call you for everything. They have a coaching call preparation sheet that you get in your materials for the coach school. They complete that, so when they call you on the phone for their coaching call, they are prepared. They're not talking about their daughter losing their tooth. They're talking about what they want to cover in that time. They receive value from you, and they are excited about the value that they get from you. So don't be the person that gives the answers, and be the person that has scheduled coaching calls. They're scheduled the same time every week. And we tell you how to set that up, because you start a little closer together, then they go further apart. They start a little longer because you don't know what questions to ask, and then they go shorter till you get to be really good. You can do laser coaching. It's a 5-minute call, 2 questions, then they got it. That's where you're headed. But this takes practice. This doesn't happen on its own, folks. This is not something that you get in one day. It's going to take some practice on your part. So a lot of people ask, what am I going to get? What am I going to learn at a Coach Excellence School? And we've got a lot of them coming up. What I covered today, you're going to practice each one of those skills individually. You're going to go through it. You'll have lots of time to practice. You want to come to the Coach School with some challenges or some things you would like to move towards, so you have things to practice in the school. You're also going to learn about self-coaching. You're going to have your nice DISC assessment that you take in advance, so you can learn how to work with different behavioral styles, how to coach different behavioral styles, how to effectively ask questions at different styles. You're going to learn how to find the emotional why. That is the #1 requested skill from anybody that coaches with any of our certified coaches. They want to find their emotional why because they don't know what it is. By the way, if you're stuck, if you're in the same rank you've been at for a long time, if you're not feeling disempowered, if you're feeling kind of lost, you've lost your vision, you're not sure where you're going, or you're feeling like, I'm just going to get by, there's no hope for me going further, I guess I'll give up on my big dream and just stay here in mediocrity. Any of those things are you, 99% chance that you have lost your emotional why. And they're not forever, by the way. Every year you should look at that, or whenever there's a major event in your life. And you'll learn about all that at the school. So that emotional why is a big piece. You also get to practice on that so that you learn how to do this. You're going to learn how to apply coaching with your team. You're going to get forms that you can use while you're in there, so that you are very effective as a coach, and that you know what and how to go about things. I'm going to tell you, I wasn't a good coach. When I started coaching, first of all, there was no pathway. We had to create a systematic approach. We're now on our 54th revision of the school. It just keeps getting better. and we've learned a lot and what activities to do at these schools to make sure that we've embedded the information and then it stays with you. But I wasn't that good. And I have a little bit of a strong behavioral style, and I thought people, all I had to do was tell them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, why to do it, and why isn't it done. And it wasn't very effective. So when I learned to coach, boy, my patience has grown. I coach my grandchildren, my children. It's a secret. I coach my husband from time to time. I coach myself every day. So it's all about us growing in those skills. And it's not going to happen overnight. So if you also, when you enroll for the coach school, there's an option to purchase a package if you want to. It's discounted dramatically for on the website. If you listen to those CDs before you come, you'll get more out of the school automatically, because you will have had an opportunity to get a second exposure to this. So what kind of results can you expect? Big one, increased retention. Coaching is the #1 retention tool in the direct selling profession. And we have analytics that would just shock you with what it's done for people's sales, increase, up to 50% in some of these areas. Sales, recruitment, the promotion within the team, retention, your personal results, all of that, we know it happens because we have analytics on it. And we have a company's analytics from companies who have done private schools in this area. So if you are looking for results, you will have a return on this investment of this school, because you've got to step in and use it. And once you do it, it works. 21 years of studying this at length in the direct selling profession. And because we've done so well in the direct selling profession, we've had other industries that are asking for our materials because it works all the way around. But the biggest thing it works in is every relationship that you have. So I'm looking for questions, comments, thoughts. You can see where you can learn more about the Coach Excellence School. You can go to dswa.org/events. And right now we have some private Mary Kay coach schools that are taking place. And you can go to dswa.org/MK events. Average school is 20 people. We've done them as large as 200 with bringing in a lot of extra faculty. But all the schools we've had that we have on our website right now are all pretty much around 20 to 35 at the most. So get registered early. They do have a capacity at the space. We really want you to join us. And I'm going to throw in a little incentive for you to do that. If you are on this call tonight live, not on the recording, but on the call live tonight, we are going to give you a coupon. When you go to check out, it's good for 10 till August the 10th. That's the day, August the 10th. And if you get registered by August the 10th, the coupon that you put in at the end after you've registered, it says 100, the number 100, all caps OFF. And there'll be $100 off on that registration for your dedication for showing up here. And you know what? Just because I'm a nice person, I'm going to say, if you're listening to the recording afterwards, I'm going to let you use it too, just because I want to make that more people to have the opportunity to do it. So let's type in your questions at this time. And what was your aha? What did you learn? What is your takeaway from this call? I am looking forward to having these schools. I know we've got one coming up in Dallas, and Lynn of 31 Gifts is hosting one in Louisville, Kentucky. We've got a school in Phoenix, Arizona that's coming up, so lots of them. Oh, yay, Louisville. Thank you, Lynn. You're going to be right there. I'm so happy that you're hosting that. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you, Angela, for the comment. We will receive a copy of this recording. Yes, you should receive a copy of the recording. Excited to see you in Louisville. Me also. Thank you. There's nothing like being there live because of the experience. Are any in the area of Minneapolis, St. Paul? Not at this time, but if we had a host, we'd get one. There's one in Brea, California. You don't see San Francisco Bay Area. We've had them there in the past, but we are having one in Brea, which is Orange County. And so that should be up on the site. And any other questions, comments, thoughts, please type them in the box. I know this was a bit one way. I will tell you the schools themselves are so interactive. People go, I can't believe I could sit there for 2 full days. It's because of the rhythm of the meeting. And we teach you about that too in the school. How will we receive the recording? If you registered for this, that we should have your email. So I'm hoping that you registered. How do you host an event? Kai, if you write to Maryann, MARYANN, at dswa.org, or you can go, I think it's elite at dswa.org. Maryann can send you a host packet so you can learn more about that. You just need to have 20 people there, and we do all the rest, so it's a good deal for you. And I'm so glad, Cindy, that you enjoyed that you can use the coaching with customers and team members. And don't forget your family. You know, this is so important. You know, we think sometimes as parents that we have to know it all and run the traffic and, you know, in our household and so on. Well, guess what? Really, we want to empower these children. My granddaughter just left to go to college, and Grace, my daughter, took her up there. She got a volleyball scholarship, and she just took her. And, you know, to know what she has learned by being coached for her lifetime, how much better prepared she is than other children, you know, it's really interesting. Like, she asked if we were taking tools. Could she take some tools with her because they were going to put some furniture together? I mean, she's thinking beyond what's normal, and I guess for kids, and I'm really proud of her for that. Here's another one. Thank you for the delivery, disposition and smoothing voice. Thank you. Is your name really, do you say it Kai? That's my granddaughter's name, is Kai. We have Kai Ulani is one of my grandbabies, and we have 2 Kais, actually, Kai girl and Kai boy, but they're different. Anyway, so I'm just happy that you were here. No, Kai sounds like hi. Oh, hi. Oh, thank you so much. I will not make that mistake if you show up at a coach school. Thank you so much. It would be great to see you again. We met in Winnipeg at the Tiber River Conference. I love that, Winnipeg. It was wonderful, and I loved the conference, and so glad that you came. Thank you for being here. I recognize so many of your names on this call because all of you, I either have met somebody in your company or know somebody in your company, or I've been somewhere. Excellent information. I got it right. Key working mode I learned today is empathy. Greetings from Baja, Mexico. Thank you so much for calling all the way from Mexico. And I hope I wasn't too fast, because I'm certain this is your second language. I also want to say it is being understanding. You're right on that. It's understanding people, being in their space, having it be about them. We don't have to be the smartest crayon in the box. You know, we don't have to show how much we know. People want to know how much you care, and that's what coaching does. It truly connects you with people at a deeper level. You will know things about people that other people won't know. You know, I am so thankful that I have learned these skills, and I've used them in a lot of places in my life, with friends, with family, you know, with coworkers, with people I've just met, people that I don't even know on the airplane. By the way, when you're flying out to coach school, practice this. That's where I learned really how to coach, was on Southwest Airlines, because they picked their seat, and I would smile, and the crabbiest person would always choose to sit next to me. But I got to practice coaching. Just remember, they'll never jump. There's no parachute. So you can't screw them up that bad in 2.5 hours. So hang in there with people. That's a good place to practice on the way in. And then when you go home, practice again and watch the difference. You're already going to be skilled and already know how to work with people and be effective at that. So again, I just want to go back one slide here and say, make sure all of you check out dswa.org/events And even if right now you can't make it to the school, get the audios, get the Build It Big book that has coaching in it. Do whatever you can. If you need to do a payment plan, we can do that too. And you would just write to Elite or Marianne at dswa.org, and she can talk to you about that. It needs to be paid before the school, but we can work that out with you too. So last chance for a comment, and I'm going to say goodnight. And thank you, everybody, for all the blessings that you brought into our lives. Take care, everyone.